this is our first time at the NAEE because we only started Power for All in Nigeria in June of 2016. So one of the things that attracted us to this expo and this conference is the fact that they're talking about sustainable ways of increasing energy access and addressing issues of climate change, which are the things that Power for All is also very passionate about and ties in with our goals and objectives in Nigeria. One of the things we want to see is to make sure that every community, especially last mile communities, are electrified using clean, sustainable, renewable energy. And so I think to that extent our goals align, and that's why we're fully in support of what the NAEE is doing. I think the conversations we've had from this morning have been very encouraging. We saw state representatives and government agencies, second-tier government agencies, who are very passionate about driving sustainable energies in their communities, seeing both the investment potential and the growth potential for those for their states, but also seeing the corresponding issues around climate change, which would help make sure that the lives of people in their communities and in their states are improved, and that the emission standards that go with industrialization is also addressed at the same time. So it was a very positive thing for us to actually hear that coming from the states as well. I think we have our work cut out for us because Nigeria is one of the largest markets that Power for All is currently operating in. I mean, with a population of 170 million, expected to double in another couple of years, we really are one of the largest, markets that, we're sort of operating in. But one of the things we've seen in the work that we've been doing in the past 6 months is that people have reached their point of pain when it comes to electrification, not having light, having to use stove and all of the diesel generators, I better pass my neighbor, and all of the attending health effects. People have reached their point of pain. So people are welcoming the idea of renewable energy. They want to know more, they want to understand the technology more, and that's where Power for All and organizations like the NAEE come in place, because we need to ramp up our advocacy efforts. I think they're already keying in. If you remember, as part of the Paris Agreement, we got some announcements from the Ministry of Environment that Nigeria has 30% targets for renewable energy. Very recently, the Vice President also announced that there's a 50% target for Nigeria's energy mix using renewable energy. That is a positive signal for investors who want to come into Nigeria and do this business, because what they are hearing from the government is that we're ready to go. We think renewable is the way to solve our energy deficit in Nigeria, and that your investments will be safeguarded and you have good rates of return if you bring your money here to actually deploy renewable energy. So I think in that sense they're sending the right signals, but we still also have to get our policies aligned to some of the signals and the targets that have been set. Issue with access to finance for a lot of developers that want to come into this industry. A lot of the commercial banks are not lending. When they are trying to lend, the few that are trying to lend are lending at double digits, 20-30%. That's, with the current economic climate, that's not encouraging for developers. So we need to work together with the central bank and most of the DFIs, the donor finance institution and the multilateral finance institutions, to define a mechanism through which some of the lending rates can be reduced and developers can borrow in good enough rates that can help them make good rates on their returns. Because remember, this is a business, it's not CSR. Renewable energy is a business, it is not CSR. There's a lot of work that's been going on by several industry associations on capacity building and entrepreneurship. I think one of the things we want to do is to bring that together, because all of these are disparate actions going on by different groups, and so people go and do all of those trainings and get certified, but they don't know which one is going to actually carry weight in the market. So at Power for All, what we're trying to do also is to bring all of that certification process and education process and capacity building process for young entrepreneurs together and say, well, this is a pipeline through which you can get trained to begin this business and to begin deploying your own enterprise in the Nigerian market. We've just begun to develop a local content policy for the electricity sector. The local content policy we've had in the past has been for the oil and gas sector. It's been very oil and gas focused. Because we're still in the draft stage of creating that local content policy, this is the right time for renewable energy practitioners to actually begin to voice out their own challenges and concerns to make sure that that local content takes care of their own interests, and that foreign investors who are coming in are cognizant of the local content and are partnering with local developers in this market. So yes, it is something that we also want to make sure that the government understands is necessary, so that the foreign investors don't crowd out the local developers and investors out of the market. It is so important.